Harmony is a musical VR experience set underwater where players can control different flocks of fish, which represents different instruments. It's kind of like we want players to feel like a conductor, like in deep sea, where they can control like millions of fish. And we think that feeling of controlling a bunch of fish, which represents sounds, is pretty cool. The project started out as personally for me from an idea of like when I'm being alone in the bedroom where I start daydreaming a lot, and I kind of imagine myself being in like an open grass field or even underwater or even like this ruined place, which it feels pretty cool. And I thought that was an amazing idea, VR idea for our project, where we put the player in like some sort of underwater setting. That's where the idea of Harmony started out.
My primary objective in designing the underwater scenes was to create a serene and relaxing atmosphere to the players. Since the underwater environment are often perceived as dark and pressuring to the people, I aim to solve this issue by lighting up the scene with bioluminescent creatures. Thinking about the level design, I seek to guide the player to the destination through the environment. As players complete the tutorial scene and get out of the cave, they immediately feel get immersed by a breathtaking coral reef landscape. A gigantic fish will lead the player to their destination and begin to interact with our voice system.
Since we wanted the fish to be instruments on their own, and we're underwater, normally there's low light, having them be bioluminescent was the best idea possible. But having them just be bioluminescent was really easy, but on its own, just having them have light was not enough. They were just very, very strong, and on their own, they didn't look that well. So I decided to shift more into a ghostly state. It felt way better. They are more translucent, and it's easier for the player to see them since there are so many of them at the same time. I'm most proud of the shader that I created, because not only it's one shader that was available to use for any other model, it doesn't apply to fish, it was also used on all the corals. By using just one shader, we can change the whole environment as the one we intended.
The project started with us wanting to experiment with simulating schools of fish, which led us to a technology called Boids. A lot of the time working on this project was spent trying to create satisfying behaviors and motions with the simulated fish. We designed our game to be familiar and exciting for experienced users, but approachable and understandable for new users, because we knew that we would be presenting the game to a wide variety of users during our public showcase. We let users set their own pace and ease themselves into the world. The user starts in a limited tutorial room, which gives them a safe space to get comfortable with the controls and learn to interact with objects. We use context-sensitive tutorials as to not overwhelm the player with too much information at the beginning of the game. We felt it was more appropriate to stagger the information given. The intensity of the game slowly builds as the user becomes more immersed in the world. As they learn to use the wand to control fish, new layers are introduced, building to a dramatic climax. I'm really proud of the movement of the fish. I think they turned out beautifully, and I'm super proud of the effects that we create using them.
The project was themed around escapism, in the sense that we want players to feel this sense of reflection. For example, when a person is going through a hard time in their life and they have a chance to be quiet and still to reflect on it on hindsight, so that they may learn and be the best version of themselves later on. Getting the music right was probably 50% of the project, if not more. That being said, I think we got really lucky with Rohan working on the music for us.
Controlling the music by interacting with the game. I thought this idea had so much potential. A player can choose the sound for themselves. There was a lot of creative freedom with making the first few layers. Gabriel, he was a big help at this stage. He introduced me to some incredible music. One of the artists that really inspired me was Porter Robinson. I wanted the game to capture the feeling of his live concerts.
So tell me how it felt when you walked on water. Did you get your way?
There were a lot of inspirations coming from not only Porter Robinson, I guess, but also from other media as well. Your Name and Weathering with You was also a good like reference points in terms of like capturing the emotions we want for the user. And especially for me, I think like a big inspiration was music from Tagaki Masakatsu.
I'm quite proud of how the song finally turned out. And it's awesome to know that every time the game is played, it produces a completely unique sound.
It's like, I really like the part that you gotta pick up the wand. The wand at the place, and then like you can actually point at where and the fish can go. And that's really cool. Like, was the music? The music is really good. And I don't know, when you guys combine these two together, it's like magical.
It was short, but it was clearly very well done.
The whales coming in, those are really well done, and like just the world itself was like really well made.
The wand,
Yeah.
you can just let go and then you can just walk away and then just cut, like it's kind of like a Star Wars force thing. You can make the wand come back.
Loud music was not common, but I was told like, oh, there's a settings menu. I love the settings menu, and then I couldn't turn it down.
Kind of made me forget about like everything, like the outside world, you know, like.
You felt like you were in a magical scenario. The colors were amazing.
These fish, man, they're like flowing right on top of me. It was such a cool experience.
Lead up to the moment where I grabbed the wand and then I started clicking things. That was nice.
Okay.
It almost just feel like I was just a little kid trying to like, you know, the sort of imaginary worlds that you come up with as a little kid and you try to like kind of visualize them. It felt like literally just that, but in real life.
Going in, I thought it might be a scary environment slightly, but then the music started to help me calm down a little bit, started to place me feeling more pleasant throughout the whole thing. But I was left with a sign of I don't know, fulfillment.
This is actual game in the game store. I will buy it for like maybe for relaxation from from school, like you know, the Friday night game.
I definitely feel humbled to be able to work with like a very talented team like this one. It's very refreshing to see everyone working really hard to make a project like this happen. And I think I speak for everyone when I say we definitely feel full when we are making something on complete sincerity. And we hope you feel that when you're playing our game. We hope you feel that sincerity.